We're actually going to be talking about how the Mexican president pulled the Uno card towards America.
He did a Uno reverse, bitches.
He did the right thing, Jenny. I feel like America got a taste of their own medicine.
That's true. After they did all those deportations, they told Mexico to go back to their country. We did. We've started building up the country. We started building up our economic system. And guess who's coming to us?
Americans.
Oh, and Canadians too.
Canadians?
Yeah. So when you go to Puerto Vallarta, there's
Puerto Vallarta.
Shut the fuck up, Mark. When you go there, there's a bunch of Canadians who own properties. They're like buying up all the condos, all the villas. And they're really like pushing out like all the natives there. And a lot of like people like Canadians and Americans, they've been such Karens. Like there's a restaurant out there that's pretty famous for like their mariachi and their banda. And there's a Karen that complained that bought a condo like on that same block.
Yeah.
And she's signing a petition to get that restaurant closed down because it's too noisy.
But as far as I know, when Americans were actually entering Mexico, it was actually ruining their quality of life.
Like America does. We just like to drive up prices. And like since we're a bunch of like remote nomads are going into that country, they're living off the value of $1, they're increasing like the pricing of homes, the price of goods.
Yeah.
And the people who make money in pesos, like it's unsustainable to them because they're not making as much as us. Some people that make like 50K here, 80K there, they go there to live well. These people are probably making like 20, 30K and they're already kind of, some of them are struggling. Some people are doing very well because they've built up cities like Guadalajara, Mazatlan, like all these beach communities are thriving. But then like locals who are barely getting by, it's very hard for them. And then on top of that, like it's getting gentrified. When I went to Mexico, like I went 15 years ago, you didn't see any vegan smoothie spots. You didn't see any like freaking like Arrow One type like little grocery stores or like little kombucha stuff. That wasn't in Mexico, and now it's like so whitewashed.
What's funny is that I was actually considering moving to Mexico. In Guadalajara. Good thing I didn't, because my ass would have got deported.
Well, not if you got like a visa.
I wasn't planning on that.
Mark can get a dual citizenship since he claims to be part of the Mexican community.
You are Mexican, but you don't speak the language, nor do you practice.
I speak it, just not well. I speak it, just not well, but I do understand it. I like listening. Okay, this isn't Mexican music. I like reggaeton. I don't really care for Mexican music like that, but I'll listen to it on occasion. I just went to a paisa party this past weekend, and they had like a whole band there. We were drinking our tequila, and we were partying till 3 a.m.
Oh, man. You guys are literally the life of the party.
We are. Once we get that little tequila rolling and tacos, we're invincible.
I grew up in a Mexican community. My best friends were Mexicans. My past relationships were majority like...
And then Mark had an identity crisis where he thought he was Mexican as well.
Hey, I thought I was, okay? My dad told me until I took a DNA test, and it...
You found out you weren't 100% that bitch?
Turns out I'm Filipino, Chinese, and apparently Vietnamese.
I can kind of see...
I don't see that
at all. You don't really look that Filipino, though.
What do I look like to you?
Could pass for Korean a little bit.
Honestly, like, I'm okay with this whole deportation thing going on in Mexico. Like, I actually support it. I'm with it.
I'm with it too. Bring back the banda on the beach because Karens are being menaces and trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the last straw, guys. We need our banda back. Who else is going to serenade you while you drink your little pina colada and eat your little taquitos or your little tacos?
You know how America's economic system is like ransacked? It's ruined. I'm pretty sure they're just here trying to ruin Mexico's economic system as well. I ain't down with that.
That's true, because also... The peso has been slowly like climbing up at a point too.
How did you say it?
The pesos.
Pesos?
Yeah. So it's slowly going up. Therefore,
you said it with an A.
So therefore, a lot of people want to go there because there is profit. I feel like it's an upcoming economy, like should be invested into, but not to the point where we pretty much like just whitewashed it down and took away their culture. How are you going to tell people to go back to their country when they're in their country? You come to their country and you bitch about their music, you bitch about the salsa being hot, you just nitpick like the country you told them to go back to, and now suddenly you're in their country.
Exactly. I was gonna tell you the cost of living. I haven't been to Mexico, but from what I've been hearing,
Well, it's dirt cheap.
it's dirt cheap. You know what? Like, here's a comparison. I am in the process of like still fixing my Miata. As you guys know, in my previous episodes, I've always would mention about my car.
He's been fixing that for a whole 2 seasons.
It's been 6 months. 2 seasons, you're right. But get this. Why is it that here in America, they charge $2,000 for a little fucking car to paint, when I can take it to Mexico and give a guy $400 and a case of beer?
Half the price.
More than half the price. Like, I was shocked when I heard the quote. So, yeah, I'm okay with this.
You know whose point of view I want to hear?
I think I know who you're going to say.
Okay, you say it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring back William Haynes.
Ba, 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 ba.
You're Mexican. You stay.
Okay. It's always a pleasure to have you back.
Yes, I love to
Welcome
talk to
back,
you
William.
specifically.
I know, we already came to the conclusion we don't fuck with Mark.
I fuck with you specifically. Like, there's just so many great things that I've learned from you already in the short time that I've known you. Like, so I really appreciate that. Like,
Oh, Mark doesn't even compliment me.
yeah.
This is why we kicked his ass off the set.
Yeah, I would never want to see you get sent somewhere. Unless it's sent back to America. Like,
Oh no, in all honesty, I'd probably want to get like a dual citizenship. I
Yeah.
like both countries.
yeah.
They're both equally as good. I want to come back here for the Raising Cane's and In-N-Out,
Yeah.
and I want to go back over there for the
They
burritos
got
and
an
the
In-N-Out
tacos.
in Mexico.
They need an In-N-Out in Mexico.
Somebody opened up their own In-N-Out clone in Mexico.
Oh, I think I saw that. It
Yeah.
was like a little duplicate. I wonder if it tastes the same.
Probably. I think they might have got shut down, or well, they had to at least change their sign, but they still sell the same thing. So shout out to them.
Shout out to them for making a dupe in Mexico. I mean,
Come on, they got really good food out there. I'm certain of it.
they really do. I went back in January. They have good Asian restaurants, good Italian restaurants. Like, I tried a vegan spot that
Yeah.
wasn't too bad. I kind of felt a little American doing that, but
Yeah. It's tough. I know it sucks to the Americans who are getting sent back, and they're really upset about it. But hey, you know, that's how it be at times. It really sucks. Mexico is such a beautiful place.
it is.
Such a beautiful country. Such beautiful people.
They're so nice and welcoming. I think that's why all the Canadians and Americans have been staying out there. They've been saying everybody's so kind and homely to them and just inviting them into their backyard, essentially.
Yeah.
As for us here, we're the opposite. We're telling them to go home. We're like treating them like dirt.
Yeah. Where I come from, where I grew up, Richmond, California, is like 45% Latino, 45% black, and the rest is Southeast Asian and a few Caucasian people. So I grew up in a heavily Latino community. So when people are saying, you know, about here, like, oh, send back the migrants, I can't imagine what that is even like, because our society, our community is so intertwined that I just couldn't imagine it, you know, a lot of us. But to other people who come from different places, I can understand. If you're in New York, you see migrants as different people. You look at them and you're saying, this person isn't from here. Where I'm from, you cannot look at a person and be like, you're not from here. That's just what it's like in California. So it's interesting that how the turntables on the other side, yeah.
It really is. I feel like the last straw was them like trying to like take away their culture. Like, you
Yeah.
can't go into somebody else's house and be like, I don't like this, I don't like
Yeah.
this, I don't like this. Let's
Yeah.
change it to my house.
And I'm pretty controversial on this topic. Is I want open borders, and I know a lot of even liberal people won't take it as far as that. So for me, I'm like, people should be able to go to whatever country they want, especially if you're doing it just like the Pilgrims did. They came to America to escape religious prosecution. So how can I hate on someone for doing the very thing that this country was founded upon
And built on.
and built on? America was built on the backs of slaves and immigrants. Okay, so who do you think built these railroads? We're talking about sending these people here and there, and the same thing is when the Republicans get in charge, they had the ability to end DACA. They did, and they never did because they love to run on it. Republicans don't want to change immigration policy because that's their campaign. Just like when Trump came in and changed the Supreme Court and ended Roe v. Wade, now the Republicans can't campaign on we're going to overturn the Supreme Court and Roe v. Wade. They can't talk about it anymore because they actually did it. So, you know. And plus, you know, when they were talking about sending all the immigrants back from America, the thing is, what they also realize is that we can't get rid of millions of people in our workforce. What a lot of average Americans don't realize is that right now the state of living in America is better than it is in China. You see how they're living in China. You know, they're living in these sky high rises, and the air out there is really bad. It's really tough. But what you got to realize is that there are so many workers in China, and over time it only makes so much sense now that we have less population than China and we have a higher GDP or whatever, we have more money per person than them. But so they're saying, okay, you want to send away all the immigrants? That's our workforce. That's millions of people in our workforce. So that's the other reason why when the Republicans got in power, they didn't really get rid of the immigrants, because you can't.
Like, who's going to build stuff?
Yeah, who's going to do all these things?
These lazy Americans don't even want to build anything. We barely even want to work.
Yeah.
We got to take away EDD so people can go back to work.
Yeah.
These
most
people
Americans
come here and they're like, give me a job.
Yeah.
And we're just like, fuck it, we just want to be home.
Yeah. Most Americans don't want to work. We don't want to work because why? We scroll on social media and we see so many people doing better than us financially, and they're selling us on the dream that they don't really put in effort for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, while other people see the American dream and they come here and they want to work, they're desperate for it. So it's a tough situation.
What's good about them is the fact that like they're willing to do any job with the smile on their face.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if they're out there selling oranges, selling grapes, like flowers, like you name it. Like we'll sell anything. We'll try to build anything. We'll try to offer anything.
I don't understand blaming them for the crime specifically. And, you know, I'm from the Bay Area, and crime is high out there. But you watch the videos like YouTuber Mark Rober posted and people in general, it is not people of any specific race that's performing the crimes. Crime is everybody. And what's crazy about all the car break-ins in California in the Bay Area, it's like, it's not even like the kind of criminals that you expect. It's like random folks. And that's
wasn't there like a random like white lady from some state? She was like hiring like all these people to break in and like steal stuff. And what was she? She was American.
Well, yeah. I mean, in San Francisco, it's a black market. They're taking stuff out of people's cars and then they take it to the markets and sell it out there for much cheaper. So there's an entire operation behind it. And yeah, that's what I want to go after is, you know, the drug dealers, the meth dealers. It's not the problems of the migrants or the people who don't have homes. It's not the homeless person's problem, you know. I mean, it's their problem, but it's not their fault that they're an addict. It's really these drug dealer folks who are, that's who I want to beat up, is the drug dealers who are allowing the homeless people to get to this state because of their actions, because of their greediness, and they're living in those high rises in San Francisco. And we don't realize they're drug lords and drug dens, and they're really, really harming the people.
And it's in our own country too. Most of these people are trying to flee like prosecution or flee the crime in their own country.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, they don't want to blame them for stuff that Americans are doing. So that's my opinion on it. But I'm not in New York. I don't know what their situation is like. I'm speaking on what I'm seeing here in California and Los Angeles and the Bay Area.
Yeah, I'm sure New York's different because they have like immigrants from like all over the country. A lot of times, a lot of them are good, but a lot of them could be bad. Like a few like bad seeds get in there and they ruin it for everybody else who's just trying to come here for a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Like America, like there's some good people, but then there's assholes who are just making us look bad. So like every other country. And
but it's not as Trump is saying, is they're not sending their best. Actually, a lot of times they are. Like, you know, India, we get lots of doctors and folks and plenty of great immigrants. So yeah, don't use them as a blanket statement to say that crime is higher or anything, you know?
Yeah, it could be anybody in the world. There's always a bad seed out there, but it shouldn't diminish everybody else's character because that one person.
We're just using them as a scapegoat. Oh, I didn't get this job because the immigrant person took it. Nah.
No, Dave, you're not going to go wake up at 5 a.m. to go build like penthouses and construction and like infrastructures.
Yeah.
Like when you go and look at a construction site, it's all Latinos.
Yeah.
You don't really see anybody else. You don't really see Asians. You don't see other cultures. It's predominantly Latinos. Like they want to go out and get dirty by any means to like support their family.
It's how it feels out here at times, but yeah.
And nobody else is gonna pick crops. You don't see Billy Joe from down the street doing it.
Yeah. You don't want to work, and you know when I drive up and down the state, and you see all those the crop workers, the sharecroppers or whatever. yeah, we don't want to do those jobs. You know, you have to fill up a bucket of.
We're over here crying about going into office 5 times a week again.
People don't want to go back to the office. Yeah, so yeah.
At my own job, like people didn't want to go back to the office. They made a huge thing. Like, we want our 1 time a week. We want to work from home, or else we're gonna quit.
Yeah, people like society a lot more than they think they do. When they and it's really the rich people at the top, the billionaires. You know, I'm going really Bernie Sanders, but the billionaires are making us hate each other at the bottom. You know, while it's really them at the top who's pulling the strings to make us not work together. We could eat the rich if we tried. You know, we could. We outnumber them. We outwork them. But they're spending their money to make us think that we're the problem and to blame each other. So think about that.
Yeah. People don't put 2 and 2 together. They think it's a we problem when it's a them problem.
And if none of those economic reasons make you love immigrants like I do, just think about how fine the women are. They'd be fine as hell.
That's very true.
If none of the economy and their food, you know, she's going to cook you way better food.
We're not going to have no green bean casserole.
Yeah.
Unless that's what you want to cook.
Unless that's what you want to cook, and it's going to be bland as hell. So... They make the better food and they work hard. So that's part of the things in society you like. Think about that.
That's very true. That's why a lot of like Latin restaurants are popular. You see more of them popping up too. You don't see, oh, I want to go and have like a chicken casserole.
Yeah.
There's no place that makes like pot pies.
Yeah.
Like there's like Southern cuisine too. Like a lot of like ethnic foods, Southern cuisine, Caribbean, like all these places are popular in dishes because they have flavor, they have seasoning. Like immigrants not to throw down. I love Indian food. I love Thai food. I love like Cuban food. Like everywhere else has like a nice hint of ingredients. I don't come back saying like, I miss meatloaf.
Yeah.
I miss shepherd's pie.
We got cheeseburgers. And
cheeseburgers is probably like, cheeseburgers and pizza are probably like the only good things that came out of American culture.
Did pizza even come out of America?
Like when I watch TikToks, people are like, I want to go there for like In-N-Out, Raising Cane's, like Taco Bell. Like it's like trashy American food, but it's like spun off of different cultures.
Yeah. Yeah, so rethink your life. Yeah.
Well, guys, let us know your opinion on this. How do you feel about Americans being deported and the reverse Uno card happening to us in foreign countries? And do you feel like other cultures are adding to our society? Let us know down below in our comments. Again, William, it's always a pleasure to have you come back anytime.
Thank you for
having me. Like I mentioned, you replaced our host, so
it's my show.
We'll see him next week.
Chicks and Ix and Will.
Chicks, Ix, and Will. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.